This is the Class Conference 2020. It's a very interesting place to be because it relates with the attraction of talents, talks about learning hubs and the way that cities can be the place for talents, for education, for and also to make university cities, which is one of our main goals also in Lisbon. We want to be one of the most competitive, innovative and creative cities in Europe. And we want to attract companies, investments, strategic projects and talents. And this is where this kind of events and this kind of industries, because higher education and research and everything that goes around is today a global industry, it's a global sector. And we want to be well positioned to attract this kind of people, this kind of investments, this kind of students and this kind of researchers. So basically is how can we position the city of Lisbon as a hub to attract talent. And this kind of conferences and this kind of stakeholders can be very important and very interesting for us in the future. So, in fact, Lisbon is the biggest university city in Portugal, and it is a very interesting hub for higher education and research. We have around 140,000 students in higher education. We have more than 100 faculties and high institutions, higher education institutions. We have around 40,000 graduates every year, 50,000 researchers. So we have very good numbers, you know. So usually you know about Lisbon, not for this kind of key assets. You know about the weather, the good food, the sea, the river, the light. And this is a very interesting place for making tourism. But we think that will be able to change a little bit the positioning of the city and make the city also a very well and very good place for a higher education and a very excellent educational experience. So this is why we are here, and this is why this is so important for us also. I'm talking about the number of students that we have in Lisbon. International students, we have around 15,000, 16,000, and Erasmus students around 5,000. We strongly believe that we can increase, and this is why we have just designed and create a program that is called Study in Lisbon, with all the universities and also with some of the stakeholders that you have here in this conference, like Erasmus Students Network and other organizations that we have in Lisbon, that makes the welcome of international students in the city of Lisbon. 2 weeks ago, we've made the second reception at the City Hall with the Mayor of Lisbon for international students. We had around 500 to 600 international students in the City Hall. And we want to make that like a routine, something that will happen every year in the city of Lisbon. Well, the housing is one of the key questions, because if you want to attract talent, if you want to attract students and researchers, you need to have the capability of offering them the right solutions for one of the key aspects when they decide where to make that educational experience for 6 months or 1 year. So the housing is very important. It's one of the critical aspects, I believe, in most of the cities and also in Lisbon. We believe that we can attract more investment, and we need to have more offer for international students in Lisbon. And we think that we have the capability to expand the housing for students in the next in the near term. Yes, it's very important, because it's like a community of people that work around this field of higher education, universities, faculties, research centers, that can somehow position one city in the right place to attract talent. So when you talk about people that makes residences or make hotels or places for students, this is the kind of stakeholders that you need to have on board if you want to expand the position and the exposition of the city as an international city for students. For example, one of the partners of this conference, it's Uniplaces. And Uniplaces, it's a startup that was born in Lisbon, in Startup Lisboa. So it's a very interesting story, because it's one of the key actors in the stakeholders in this field of housing. It's like a digital platform for housings and rooms for students, and it's a startup that was born in Lisbon. So it's an additional reason why we should be at the forefront of this very interesting movement. Well, one of the differences is that Globalization started by the movement of people, capital, products and services. But the universities, for some time, they were like very territorial. Nowadays, it's completely a global industry, so you need to compete and also cooperate, mostly not with countries, but between cities, because the cities has this kind of identity. When you go to a city like Lisbon, or when you come to Vienna, you came to a place that it means something to you, and where you can establish or create some kind of a bond. So at this level, it's the competition is very high. So you need to be prepared. So this is one of the reasons why this kind of events can be very interesting when the city wants and has the strategy to attract this kind of people, this kind of students. The change is the level of competition and the level of global movements of students at an international level. And it's not just at the European level. Now things happen at the global level. So of course we want to attract students from Europe, but we must attract people from United States, from Asia, from Brazil. Of course we have all cultural bonds with Africa or Brazil and the Portuguese language countries. But we need to position ourselves as a hub for the global international students community.